Welcome to the Third Win channel, and this is our next episode of the AHS Ranked series. Today we're going to be landing on Colt, which I'm going to be transparent is my least favorite season. I recently made a video on this. I'll put the card up in the top right and maybe a link in the description. And I just don't like it very much. If you want to know why, you can go watch the video, but I'm going to get into my ranking of the top 9 characters. I've decided to not include Oz because YouTube's a little bit, how should I say it? They don't like really content involving kids, so I've decided to keep him out of it. And I don't think he's very important for this list. He's not really a main character, so we'll keep him out of it. But coming in at number 9, we have the sheriff, or at least the cop, Jack. I just find Jack not really likable in any way. He doesn't have really any redeeming qualities. He's easily persuaded. He has Nazi memorabilia. He rapes women, and it's just not good. I don't really have much to say, and he has nothing redeeming about him. Next, at number 8, I have Harrison. Um, other than, murdering probably 5+ people, what else do I not like about Harrison? Um, I guess it's how easy he is to persuade. And within like a couple hours of meeting Kai, he decides, yeah, it's completely reasonable to murder my boss with him. It's just not very believable, and I think he's kind of a weak character, and that's why he's at my second to last spot. Number 7, I have Ivy. Ivy is, when we find out that she's in the cult, it kind of falls apart a little bit, and her reasoning for, not hating Allie, but for, turning her back on Allie and joining this crazy cult and endangering their child is just absurd. And it makes Allie a very unlikable character. Her being a villain doesn't really feel right either, and yeah, she just doesn't come off as very likable, even as a villain. So that's why she lands at number 7 for me. I've probably forgotten about something. Number 6, I have Meadow. She's also involved in murdering people. As most people, I think everyone on this list is involved in murder except one. Um, but Meadow, I guess, comes off as the most. I don't know how to say it. In the middle of things, like she doesn't really want to be in the middle of this, but then her falling in love with Kai is so weird, and it's really weird. She's at number 6 just because she's not as unlikable as the characters below her. But I don't really have much to say about her. I guess it's kind of cool that she drew the clown masks, but no, just no. Um, so at number 5, we land on. I've put Rudy here, and I'm having second thoughts about it, but well, I'll mention that Rudy's the only character here that doesn't join the cult at any point. He's also the only character that I think doesn't kill anyone in the series, so that's, other than, well, on this list at least. So that's worth mentioning. And, you can't really label him a good guy, but he might be the most good guy of the series, which maybe deserves higher ranking. But, he comes off as a fairly likable person, but obviously still has a shady past and kind of balancing keeping his family afloat and his career afloat versus keeping his parents, you know, rotting on their bed. Mm, it's difficult, right? But he comes off as, you know, being compared to all these other people as a more likable character, and yeah, I guess I liked him, and his fate is quite sad. He wanted to do the right thing, and for that he probably should deserve a higher rank. But you know what? I'm going off of instinct here. At number 4, I have Beverly. and she makes for a pretty good villain slash not villain hero, not hero at all. How seamlessly she was fine with killing people, like just like that. She just snapped. Is is concerning, and she doesn't come off as a very believable character, but she comes off as a strong one, but without emotion, complete sociopath. Um, but I guess the whole narrative of her being a journalist and getting angry and I don't know. It's more interesting, and she's at least a more interesting character. But nonetheless, I don't know. Is she is she likable? You can't really say she is. Although I do appreciate all of her stints at the end of the season. Kind of women empowering the women and that narrative was strong. So she earns the fourth spot because she is at least she shows some I don't know some extra thought. I don't know, more likable than some of the others. But obviously she killed her her body count on the killing is probably higher than everyone on this list. You know, everyone is terrible on this list. Let's just start with that, actually. Maybe other than the therapist, but he's not really that great either. One of the reasons why this season is so grim. But number three, I have Allie. Overall, Allie is a pretty strong character. The biggest flaw with Allie and why she gets third, um, I guess there's two things. She can come off as a little bit annoying, but I don't think that's the strongest. I mean, the weakest part of her character. I think the weakest part of her character is like the her flip in personality, her like 180. All of a sudden, she goes from being this weak, scared of everything, kind of very phobic person, but then all of a sudden she flips and she becomes the strongest character in the series, being able to do everything without fear, joining a cult for God's sake. I guess she's driven by revenge and motherhood and all this, but I don't know how believable it is, and that kind of complete flippant character is. If it was done a little bit more smoothly, I think I could believe it, but a bit too crazy. But nonetheless, she comes off as a of all the characters she killed one or two people, still terrible. Um, Killing Ivy was honestly, an enjoyable. I shouldn't say that. That's not good. But like when you're watching AHS, I guess you're. Um, I'm just commenting on it and what they want the audience to feel. I guess that is what they wanted you to feel. Um, but nonetheless, she gets third place, and I think she's better than all the people below her in terms of characters. Number two, we get Winter. She has this kind of vibe that draws you. She's dressed kind of like the witches. I don't. That's not really part of it, but I thought I should mention that. Um, but really wacky, not wacky, really interesting character. I thought this was um, one of the more interesting concepts, and she's this kind of edgy. Is she a teenager? No, she's not a teenager anymore, but she's this kind of edgy character, which we see a lot, like this kind of gothic style character, or just what she's into is like watching on the dark web, watching people get killed and all this. But she's at the same time she's a Hillary supporter, and um, she's also uh, I don't know what to say. She's also described in the series as fearful of children, which is weird because she babysits Oz and all this. But what I'm getting to, why I have her at number two, those are some of the, I guess, the weird things. But why I think she is worthy of number two is just she's more authentic than a lot of the characters in the show. She's more likable. She's interesting, and her fate is just gruesome. And her interactions with all the characters in the show, I thoroughly enjoyed, and I don't know why exactly, but I think the showrunners wanted to make her a likable character, and I think they succeeded. Really interesting. Um, I should say more here, but I've kind of forgotten what I wanted to say about her. But we'll move on to our number one. And why is the most Insane Man, number 1 on this list? Well, undoubtedly, he's the most entertaining of this season. I think for the same, I mean, I don't like the season, but I think the acting and the writing for this character is just so entertaining that even though it's just the worst season of HS, it kind of redeems it. He redeems it by being so crazy, and talking about Evan Peters playing all these different characters as well. I kind of include them in the package with Kai. I don't know. It's just so entertaining. Watching him do all these crazy things. Obviously, he's a terrible person, but he does make this season infinitely more interesting than if they wrote a character that was half as crazy as Kai. You know. I don't really want to get into too much more. Just why is he number 1? Entertainment. Uh, but that is my list. That is my cult list. And don't forget, if you want to know like my thoughts on the season and why I don't really like the season, go watch that video I have in the link in the description and on the cards on the top right. Um, the episode's called the worst season of AHS, so it should be pretty easy to find. Um, but yeah, I don't like this season. Let me know what you thought of this season and how you would rank these characters as well. I'm curious. Do you like Colt? Because I don't. So I'm happy that I no longer have to talk about Colt because that's out of the way. But anyways, thank you for watching. If you want to support this channel and let me know that you like the content, please subscribe because that lets me know that you want more AHS content, and that's all I ask. And I want to thank you for watching this video so much. So I'll see you guys soon.